Hey guys, it is Kevin here in Japan, and this is kind of a response to a whole bunch of people. I've actually, I don't know if for whatever reason this old video I made was, on a blog somewhere, maybe some kind of, someone shared it, I don't know, but recently there's a video I made, and I don't even know the name of the video, I can't tell you, I make so many freaking videos. But I made a video a few years ago, made a couple of videos about the fact that you don't have to be a native English speaker in order to get a job teaching English in Japan, because over the years I've worked with a lot of people who are not native English speakers who teach English. I currently work with people who are not native English speakers who teach English. It's very possible. In Korea, it's not possible as far as I know. It never was when I worked there. I think they've changed a lot of visa laws in Korea, but when I worked in Korea years ago, you had to be either from the UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, and maybe South Africa, and that was it. But now I think things maybe have changed a bit. But in Japan, a lot of schools and stuff will say that they want native English teachers, but at the end of the day, if your English level is extremely high, your spoken, written, your spoken English is really good. You don't have much of an accent, I think is a key thing too, and you have very strong reading and writing skills, comprehension skills, then you have a good shot of getting a job teaching English. Now, of course, you're also going to need to have just the basic qualifications to get a visa. You're going to need a degree. You have to have a university degree. There's nothing around that. You're going to be a teacher. You got to have a university degree. There are some of the little things, but okay. If you're here on a spousal visa and you don't have a degree, you can teach. So if you're married to a Japanese national, but if you don't have a degree, it is going to be much more difficult to find a job, but it's possible. But for those who just straight up want to come here and work as an educator, the degree is necessary. But yeah, so someone, a couple of people who recently messaged, more than a couple, several people have messaged me very recently in the last week saying, I'm a non-native English speaker, I want to come to Japan, I saw your video, I'm so happy that there's hope, can you give me the names of some companies that will hire me? No, I can't, because I'm not a recruiter. Also, in Korea there are recruitment companies that hire people for jobs. In Japan, you tend to normally go directly through the company, so I'm just gonna, Google has all these answers. I'm gonna tell you right away, and this is the kind of thing many J-vloggers make videos about when they talk about, finding work in Japan. The questions, you spend a lot of time writing questions to someone like me, and I do want to help you if I can, but for the most part, you would probably find more valuable information if you just wrote that question into a Google search and hit send, and you'd probably find a lot of that information right there. A lot of information you may be looking for is probably on the Embassy of Japan's website in the country you live in about working abroad. But what I would say, I'll give one example. Probably the biggest site out there for finding work in Japan is gaijinpot.com. I just said it, gaijinpot.com. Go there, and even if a job says they're looking for native English speakers only, apply anyway. Okay, so if you apply on you set up a profile on a website like gaijinpot.com, it's free. Now, employers pay money in order to use the service, but as someone who is seeking a job, it's free. It's a free service. So there's no harm in applying. Just apply, even if you're not a native English speaker. Just apply. You'd be surprised. It's really hard to find good people to work here in Japan. It's really hard to find reliable people. If you have passion, like you say you do, to work here, then you're going to have the drive to do it. Yeah, be independent, be resilient, have a thick skin, as in, you may get rejected by some schools, maybe you won't, but if you do, don't worry about it, just keep on trucking. But yeah, so do Google searches for this stuff, guys, out there, and it is true. If you're a non-native English speaker, you can work here, and you can find the information all by yourself. Especially if you're an adult. Yeah, again, I worked with people from all over. I've worked with people from Scandinavia, from Europe, Eastern Europe. I've worked with people from various parts of Africa, the Philippines, Singapore, Vietnam, China, Malaysia, I've even worked with some Scottish people. See what I did there? Okay, but yeah, so there you go. Some information for you if you're looking for work. There you go. Kevin here in Japan. Hope you found that useful. Check all the links below. Check out again, for more information about life in Japan, check out my podcast. My podcast, the Just Japan podcast, is a great source of information. We're up to episode 83 now. It's on iTunes, on Stitcher Internet Radio, on SoundCloud, on Libsyn. All the links are below. And each week I have a different guest on talking about life in Japan. And there's so many topics we've talked about. So many topics. You'll find something there of interest to you. So go subscribe to the podcast, Just Japan Podcast. And one more little shameless plug, because it's my channel. I can do what I want. Go check out my new Etsy store. If you like Japan, you're into Japan stuff, go check it out. Lots of cool Japan stuff at Luck of Japan on Etsy. Links below in the description box. Go check it out. Luck of Japan on Etsy.